Okay, so welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we are unpacking the collaboration between Yeezy and Gap. But before I continue this video, you can definitely follow me on Instagram at Fashion Roadman. I post a lot about fashion, so definitely check me out on Instagram. So yesterday Kanye West took to Twitter and made a few announcements, and I'm gonna read out what these announcements say on my phone. So the first one was Yeezy and Gap form a partnership. Then he used the hashtag West Day Ever, and he kind of got that hashtag going on Twitter. And then the next post was a bit more detailed, and he called it West Day Ever, of course, and he said, Yeezy Gap begins. Mo Alola joins as Yeezy Gap design director. KSG cartoon Murakami Cuddy. Jesus is King film on Apple James Terrell. Yeezy Supply documentary with Nick Knight, which is also crazy. Foam Runner release, made in USA. Jesus is King, Dr. Dre version. Wash Us in the Blood video, and Arthur Jaffa. So of course with this announcement, it broke the internet. Everyone was going crazy, and it was reported that because of Kanye West's deal with Gap, Gap's stock went up by 42%, which is absolutely insane. And it just goes to show the power of Kanye West. So it is reported that Kanye West and Yeezy signed a 10-year deal with Gap starting in 2021. And it's going to feature what they term as elevated basics. And this will include affordable adult and children's clothing. Gap also made a statement saying that they hope to make $1 billion after 5 years through this collaboration. And they also said that Kanye West will get royalties depending on certain sales metrics, if he hits those metrics. So there's actually an incentive for Kanye West to really try and sell these garments because he's going to earn more money through it. And I know there's like a similar deal with Kanye West and Adidas, and that's why Kanye West recently became a billionaire, because he earned so much money from the royalties he got from the good performance of the Yeezy Adidas sneaker line selling a lot. So according to the New York Times, of course, they said it was a really timely deal for Gap because they were struggling financially, and they have recently closed over 100 North American stores in recent times, and of course have been hit with the financial implications of the pandemic. Another huge announcement that was made, obviously, was the fact that Mo Alola Ogunlesi, the Nigerian designer who graduated from Central St. Martin, she's been a member of Fashionista, really great designer. She was announced as the design director of Yeezy Gap, which everyone was also happy about. I think for me as a Nigerian, it's really good to see Mo Alola get that opportunity, because the way the Nigerian creative industry kind of works is I don't see too many good Nigerian creators, because in Nigeria there's a kind of huge class divide between people who are poor and people who are rich. And between the circles of rich people, there's a lot of people who make products I wouldn't support in a billion years, but because they're rich and they know other rich people, those people gas each other up, and then they're big in Nigeria, but they never really make it big outside of Nigeria because their stuff, the stuff they make is not good enough, and it's not the type of stuff I would support. So to me, it's really amazing when I see an actual good creative, someone like Mo Alola, or people like Kenneth Ize, or people like that who I can really support, and I'm really proud to back as a fellow Nigerian in the creative industry. So yeah, it's a big thing for Nigerians in fashion, it's a big thing for African fashion, and it's really good to see Mo Alola get that opportunity at such a young age. If I can remember correctly, she's 25 years old, so yeah, that's just crazy. I actually first found out about Mo Alola's work following Fashionista, and if you guys don't know what Fashionista is, that's a whole different story. So you can watch the video I have made on Fashionista, or you can watch a documentary on what Fashionista is that ID made on YouTube. But I think in recent times, I think within the past year, she's really started to rise and hit the mainstream market, especially when she released this t-shirt that says Love Nigeria, that I know was a big hit, and it really sells a lot. And then more recently, if I'm looking at my notes now, she has a really highly coveted bag, and it's called the Bundle Bag. And that bag actually sold out in minutes on her website. So clearly she's starting to show that she can have an it bag, which is really important in fashion, because when it comes to making money, Accessories, perfume, socks, you know, things like that, footwear, those are the things that make the most money. And the runway stuff is more just artistic expression, but it doesn't bring in the big bucks. So it's good from a business standpoint that she can show she can sell bags and she can sell all these things. And if I was to describe her aesthetic, it's kind of this eclectic mix of African masculinity and sexuality. And what people really like about her work, including me, is her amazing use and knowledge of color and how she combines different colors together to make unique effects. So yeah, I really love her work. And I'm a huge fan of Mo Ololo. There's not many people or designers I would say I'm a fan of, but Mo Ololo is definitely one of those designers. However, it's not possible to talk about this Yeezy Gap collaboration without addressing the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room, of course, is the situation with Telfar. So Telfar is this really amazing queer Black American fashion designer, and he's very well known for the Telfar bag. So if you guys see the bags with the kind of like circle and the T, those sell really well, and that's kind of what he's popular for. Obviously, he's an amazing designer. If you look at his runway shows, and I'm going to break down a few of his shows in the future, then you'll see that there's a lot of intellectual processes that goes into making the work that he does, but on face value, people know him mainly for the bags. So in January, it was actually announced that he was collaborating with Gap, and everyone was excited because we're like, okay, this is cool, like a Gap and Telfar collaboration. His bags sell well. What if he makes a little cheaper bag with Gap and makes a bit of apparel? That would have been really interesting, and everyone was really excited to see that, including me. And I remember after the announcement, it was kind of silent. It was kind of like crickets from Gap. I didn't hear anything about the collab after that. I didn't hear anything from Telfar, anything from Gap, and me and my friends always used to message each other from time to time, like, when exactly is this collaboration coming out? And it turns out that actually, when the Kanye West and Gap collaboration came out, there were rumors that were going around that actually the Yeezy Gap collaboration replaced the Telfar collaboration, which to me is absolutely crazy, and we'll get into it. And it actually turns out that Telfar found out, like everyone else, when Kanye West posted the announcement that Yeezy was collaborating with Gap, and that actually they were replacing Telfar's collaboration, which is, first of all, crazy. I'm not even sure if that's legal if you sign a contract, so I really hope that Telfar sues them and gets his money. And another reason why I hope he sues Gap is because Gap did not financially compensate him for the work he's already done. So of course, when the collaboration was announced, he had to draw up ideas, he had to probably make a few samples, a few prototypes, and that is extremely expensive, and apparently they just did not compensate him for any of that stuff or any of the fabrics bought. And for them to not compensate him financially and then just dump him for Yeezy is just insane. And once again, like I said, I hope he sues them, because he is within his right to sue Gap for doing things like that. Also, shout out to YOLO from High Fashion Talk. If you guys don't know, High Fashion Talk is a really good community on Facebook. It's a Facebook group where people talk about fashion and have some of the best discussions I've seen online about fashion. So definitely join that group and follow YOLO on Instagram. But YOLO actually brought it to my attention that between the time that Telfar's collaboration with Gap in January was announced, and just 2 days ago when the Yeezy collaboration with Gap was announced, Gap Incorporated actually changed their CEO, which is actually even more interesting because, as you know, when a new CEO comes into a company, most times they want to change the direction of the company into something that they personally think will work. So maybe it's a situation where this new CEO came in to Gap and then decided that she didn't want to go with Telfar, and a better direction to go in is with Yeezy. That being said, it still doesn't make sense to me because, like I saw from the New York Times, Gap has been really struggling financially. So if they're struggling, and this Yeezy deal was something that they saw as a huge financial opportunity, obviously they even came out and said they are looking to earn 1 billion in sales in the first 5 years, then Telfar sells as well. So why couldn't they do both collaborations? Why did they have to replace one with the other? That really makes no sense to me. It literally would have been the best of both worlds, because if they had just continue with the Telfar collab, they would have earned the money and the sales from the Telfar collab. They would be in good standing with the public, because the public wouldn't be talking about how shady Gap is, because they are, in replacing one designer with the other and not compensating them financially or anything. And then, so PR wise, they'll be good for PR, because I know that's what all companies care about, is PR looking good, even if they're not necessarily good. Then they would also have money, because Telfar sells, Yeezy sells, so you're not really gonna lose anything. Obviously, Kanye West sells more than Telfar, but all you need to do is just make sure that the quantity of the Telfar collab is a lot less than the quantity of the Kanye collab. So I just do not understand why they wouldn't go ahead with both. And it makes me ask the question, who was the idiot that made this decision to just completely replace Telfar with Yeezys? It really makes no sense to me, honestly. But yeah, on that note, comment down below what your thoughts on this are. What do you think about the whole situation, from Mo Alola being the design director to Yeezy signing with Gap, to the whole controversy around Telfar? Obviously, like this video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And if you want to hear me talk about this topic more in depth, I did do like a 7-hour live stream on YouTube yesterday, and I did put that on my Patreon. So if you guys subscribe to the Patreon, of course, you'll have access to that video alongside many other things, and the link to my Patreon is in the description below. And on that note, I'll be back with another video soon. Thank you very much for watching.